on the interwebs, YouTube. I'm checking out a lot of people's channels. And, normally I sit back in the cut and listen to people's opinions or when people state facts. I'm a fan of debate and I'm a fan of sports. And I like listening to everyone's opinion. I feel like everyone has the right to speak their mind, say their opinions, and state the facts. The old adage is men lie, women lie, but numbers don't. And a lot of people go to the stats to prove their points of their opinion about whatever discussion. So and I'm not going to say this gentleman's name because this is not a diss. I'm not attacking my fellow content provider. I'm not attacking anyone who makes content on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitch. And before we get into today's topic, I first like to state a lot of things before I get into the discussion. One, I'm not attacking or assassinating anyone's character or opinion or thought. I'm not attacking anyone's stats because men lie, women lie, but the numbers don't. But a lot of people use stats to prove their point. And I don't think people may intentionally do it or unintentionally do it, but I feel like a lot of people move the goalpost when they're talking about this debate. People try to say things and fit narratives to prove a point, and then they'll plaster their live streams with individual stats to determine who is the greatest of all time. And I feel like in a sport that is basketball, if you are a true historian or a true fan of the National Basketball Association, we don't glorify, hardcore fans don't glorify individual stats like they do in baseball. I feel like out of the three major sports, football talk about individual stats at a certain degree, but the overall premise of the NFL is a team game. If you look at Terrell Owens and Randy Moss, they were hellified players at their position. But typically what the NFL do is, and what the analysis and the hearsayers and the fans judge a successful player is the amount of Super Bowl wins they have. That's why Tom Brady is always going to be in the discussion of greatest player of all time, because he has led his team, or he enjoyed success of a team winning a title. And since Tom Brady is the figurehead, he gets all the blame. He should also get the credit. But that is a team sport. It's not about the individuals in the NFL. It's about the teams. So when you have these always moving goalposts, Shannon Sharp and people like that, they always talk about the Dallas Cowboys. It's been more than a decade since my beloved Dallas Cowboys won a Super Bowl. And that's a problem. And I do agree with that. However, when you talk about but a lot of these guys, when they talk about individuals such as Aaron Rodgers, the first thing the apologists do is, well, he was in one Super Bowl. He does have all of these stats, and statistically, he has all the important stats. Therefore, that makes him the greatest player of all time. By him winning one Super Bowl almost a decade ago. What's up, man? I hope you can hear me. I hope you're still in the building. And that's what people do. When you talk about baseball, they promote individual stats like the home run leader, the pitcher who has the most strikeouts, batting averages. Baseball has always been glorified, and they promote individual stats. Individual stats are so important in baseball that me, my father, his father, his great-great-grandfather, so on and so forth. When we talk about baseball, we talk about what? Individual stats. That's why Mark McGwire was juicing up. That's why Barry, I forgot his name. Barry Bonds. We will talk about the accomplishments, Sammy Sosa, the accomplishments of the home run leaders. And that's why a lot of these players were juicing up, because they knew if they get these Hall of Fame prestigious individual stats, they're gonna live like kings. So they robbed, steal, and cheated their way to that success. Baseball has always been considered, we're going to promote individual stats. Nothing wrong with it. It's been that way since the beginning of time. When you talk about basketball, people, when you talk to hardcore fans of the game, the sport of basketball, when you talk about the analysts and the talking heads on a lot of sports shows and radio shows and podcasts and vlogs and blogs and things of that nature, when they talk about the sport of basketball, what they gravitate to? They gravitate to titles. Titles are the end all and be all of someone's persona and someone's career. And every time people mention the debate between who is the greatest of all time, LeBron James or Michael Jeffrey Jordan, well, LeBron Lamone James and Michael Jeffrey Jordan, no matter if you're a fan of LeBron, you talk about his individual achievements. You talk about, well, LeBron has won 4 titles with 3 different teams. And you base that evidence on, well, LeBron James got 4 titles with 3 different teams. He's going to end up having all of the individual stats and achievements. Therefore, he's the greatest of all time. He's that guy. He has already surpassed Michael Jordan. He has definitely surpassed Kobe Bean Bryant. And people gloss over the fact that LeBron only won 4 titles, 6 different tries. He won 4 titles in 3 different teams. He's going to have the individual stats to back up the narrative and the argument And it's in the discussion with a lot of LeBron James fans. However, we never analyzed basketball that way. We have always looked at how many championships you have. That determines to us who is the GOAT. First of all, I feel GOAT, people use the greatest of all time for everything. They use it like mayonnaise. Have you ever tried putting mayonnaise on every type of sandwich? I'm not a hellified mayonnaise eater. I feel like mayonnaise covers the true flavor and the essence of the sandwich itself. And I don't use mayonnaise. And I feel like a lot of people use the greatest of all time. They done made the greatest of all time a vanilla title. It doesn't hold the same weight it holded 10 years ago or 20 years ago. It doesn't ring bells like it did back then. Now everyone wants to plaster greatest of all time on anything and everything. And now it's a vanilla title. Because now everyone puts in the fact, well, that person is the greatest of all time because of X, Y, and Z. When back in the day, we considered the greatest of all time of how many titles you had won. You can't consider yourself the greatest of all time if you do not have titles to back you. Titles are the numero uno of the argument. It's in a discussion. No one talks about how many scoring titles you have, or do you have the scoring title record, or are you number one in assists or top 5 in assists, or if you're number 1 in rebounds, or if you're top 5 in rebounds, or the longevity in an NBA career. No one talks about none of that stuff because none of that stuff matters. It's about how many titles you won. Now, what Shannon Sharpe and a lot of LeBron James stands would do when you mention titles, that and if you're calling LeBron James the greatest player of all time, which I can agree to that narrative, but when you start saying he done already surpassed Michael and Kobe, that's when you lose me. Because when you look at Michael and Kobe, they have more championships and they have a more successful rate getting to the finals versus LeBron James. You know, the first thing a lot of these stands or Shannon Sharpe do is they'll switch and move the goalposts. They'll say, well, Bill Russell has more championships than LeBron or Kobe. How come y'all don't call him the greatest of all time? Because he was never in the discussion. The debate was LeBron or Michael or James. That was the debate. It wasn't Bill Russell. It wasn't Magic Johnson. It wasn't Larry Bird. It wasn't Bill Russell. It wasn't Wilt Chamberlain. It was LeBron and Michael Jordan. Now, if we're looking at both of these individuals and we don't take an account of, because I feel like individual stats, I feel like both of these guys are award-winning when it comes to individual stats. I feel like the days of being dominant on both sides of the ball, playing defense as well as playing offense, as being you're always winning defensive player of the week and defensive player of the year, offensive player of the week, offensive player of the year. I feel like a lot of people have skipped over that, particularly a lot of you young cats. Now it's about scoring, and more scoring. Defense is not the end all and be all in y'all narrative. And I don't understand why being the second best player, if LeBron James would retire today, he would be considered the second best player of all time. It would be Michael Jordan, LeBron James. I would go as far as being the second best player if someone wants to rate him the second best player, even though it's hard to swallow when he's been in the league for 19 years. And when you look at other players, such as Kobe Bryant, such as Magic Johnson, such as Bill Russell, LeBron has already leaped over those guys. Those same guys y'all use against Michael Jordan to fit your narrative, to push, to move the goalposts. All of a sudden, LeBron James surpasses those guys. But when you talk about Michael Jordan, you say, well, Michael Jordan doesn't have enough championships than Bill Russell. It fits your argument. It fits your narrative. But when you talk about LeBron James, you don't use that same argument. You don't use that same discussion. Therein lies the problem. Like I said, so I was on this guy's live stream, and like I said, this is not a diss at his channel. I'm not even going to mention the guy's name. And he had this discussion last night, about who was the better player. He started plastering stats that favor his argument, which he should. Go ahead, do you. So I just typed in, and I'm paraphrasing. Okay, I can sort of co-sign and I can agree with your premise, but at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, and if LeBron doesn't win any more championships, at the end of the day, he's still going to be behind Michael Jordan for what the most important stat is: final wins. LeBron only repeated twice with the Heat. He never won 3 titles in three consecutive years. That's going to put a hole in the GOAT argument. Another thing that's going to put a hole in his argument is he never done it on one stage. He has never done it on one team. He has always shuffled the deck to benefit him. When he took his talents to South Beach and went to Miami, they lost the first time they went to the finals against the Dallas Mavericks. That's going to really put a hole into the narrative to the argument of who was better. Everyone seems to forget about that. They won 2 championships back to back, and then they lost again to the San Antonio Spurs. When that team got older, when Dwyane Wade was no longer the same Dwyane Wade when he first joined the Miami Heat, when Chris Bosh, medical issues came about, and the team was hitting the cap, and they was not going to go over the cap. The ownership of the Miami Heat wasn't going to do that. Pat Riley wasn't going to do that. And they wasn't going to mortgage all their future young players and draft picks just to get a veteran player that's only going to help them for maybe 1, 2 at best years, and then you're going to be stuck with that salary. And now no one wants him. He took his talents back to Cleveland. They traded for Kevin Love. They already had Kyrie Irving in the place to be. And during his time there, he won 1 championship with the Cleveland Cavaliers. And when Kyrie Irving left, and when the Cleveland Cavaliers was over the salary cap, and they done mortgaged all their future draft picks and signed players of LeBron's choosing, like J.R. Smith, those type of players. Have everyone seen Christian Thompson? Have everyone forgot about those players? The same players that they was trying to trade away, no one wanted when that team was depleted and their draft picks are gone, and then they was going to be in the cellar for the next couple of years. LeBron took his talents to the Lakers. LeBron was supposed to be this huge facilitator. You put LeBron with any team under any different system, you're going to flourish. That was the narrative, right, folks? That was the narrative. First year with the Lakers, they was high in the standings. LeBron had I wouldn't say it was a major injury, but it was an injury. The team plummeted. LeBron came back from injury. The team still struggled, and they couldn't get to the playoffs. And what was the narrative that first year of LeBron? Well, we got to get Anthony Davis. LeBron just don't have enough. You mean to tell me a LeBron James, the facilitator, the guy that y'all instantly said you put him in any offense, you put him under any system, put him with any coach, you're going to win titles. That guy cannot make it work with an Alonzo Ball, a Brandon Ingram, a Josh Hart, with young players that's going to be coming. LeBron couldn't make that work. The second year, not only he's trying to get Anthony Davis, he's also trying to get Kawhi Leonard. He's a free agent. And this is another thing a lot of people don't seem to forget. Everyone seems to forget about this. LeBron James was campaigning for Kawhi Leonard and Anthony Davis. Kawhi Leonard chose that he wanted to do his own thing, and LeBron was willing to allow Kawhi Leonard to be Kawhi Leonard. If he wanted to run the team, he could run the team. If he wanted these certain things that the organization have to promise and give to him, they was going to do that. LeBron James would have had no problem playing alongside Kawhi Leonard. If it means that he had to suck his pride down a little bit just to get Kawhi Leonard, he would have gotten Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard chose not to, went to the Clippers. All right. They mortgaged their whole, they got Alonzo Ball, which a lot of y'all called him a bust, which I was telling you guys, if you give him a couple of years, he's going to get better, folks. If you give him a couple of years, he's going to figure out his father is the biggest distraction in his career. And he was going to slowly but surely move away from his father, hire a real agent, and he's going to develop that NBA body and that NBA skill set. Just give him a couple of years. A Brandon Ingram who was already a double-double type of player. The sky was the limit with Brandon Ingram. And you had a three-point specialist in Josh Hart. You traded all that away for Anthony Davis. And you mortgaged your draft picks. And you won one title in a shortened season. And I've said this wholeheartedly, all championships are created equal. I don't care if you played a full season or a half season. A championship is a championship, but they depreciate twice as much. Everyone talks about the championship in the after they come back from when they come defending the championship. Well, when they won the championship, people talk about it. In the offseason, people talk about it. When the next season starts, people talk about it. People talk about it until they crown the next champion. And you can hang your hat on it. It already done depreciated. It's a what have you done for me lately type of league. Woo. What's wrong with me? League. It's always been that way. We don't talk about your accomplishments of almost 2 years ago. It's been almost 2 years since the Los Angeles Lakers won a title. And when they try to defend their title, they played against the Phoenix Suns. And the Phoenix Suns was having their way with the Los Angeles Lakers. They had LeBron James on the court. You had somewhat of an Anthony Davis on the court. And you still got beat. You hear all these Shannon Sharp apologists and all these guys who are for LeBron James, all continuing to move the goalposts. Even though the Clippers without Kawhi did better that year than the Lakers defending their title. But that's neither here nor there. We're not even talking about the Clippers. We're not even talking about the Clippers. The Milwaukee Bucks won the title. And a lot of people can say, well, if, KD's foot was like a toenail away. If his toenail was a little bit shorter, that would have been a 3. The Brooklyn Nets would have went to the NBA Finals, and they would have played against the Phoenix Suns, and they match up better with the Phoenix Suns, and Kevin Durant would have won a title. And ifs, ands, and candy nuts. I mean, that's a lot of ifs. If. A lot of ifs in there. If Kyrie didn't get injured, if James Harden didn't get injured, if KD would have shot a 3 instead of a 2, if. A lot of ifs there. The Milwaukee Bucks won the title last year. They're defending their title. Folks, is there anyone in the East that's going to dethrone the Milwaukee Bucks? I feel like the Brooklyn Nets are going to have a hard time dethroning them. The Philadelphia 76ers are going to have a hard time defending them. The Miami Heat are going to have a hard time defending them. And the Chicago Bulls, who are up and coming, which, by the way, let's talk about the Chicago Bulls for a second, shall we? DeRozan, y'all could have gotten him last year. Y'all could have gotten him in the offseason. But since you don't have enough money, you couldn't get him. You also could have re-signed Alex Caruso. But since you don't have enough money, you couldn't keep him. Now, those 2 players that you guys were targeting in the offseason are now on the Chicago Bulls. And the Chicago Bulls, I believe they're on a 7-game winning streak. And they are heading to, if the season ends today, they're definitely going into the playoffs. Yeah, those 2 guys that the Lakers wanted, the Bulls have them. But the Lakers wanted, they wanted old man, they wanted old man Rondo, old man Dwight Howard, old man Russell Westbrook, old man Carmelo Anthony. The Lakers are a veteran basketball team that came to the realization. I don't know why they come to this realization, and this has been going on since the beginning of time in the NBA. It's a young man's sport. If you don't have enough young men on your team, you're going to struggle getting back, loose balls, rebounds, fast breaks. You're going to have an issue keeping up with younger teams and talented teams. Everyone was talking about ever since LeBron James went to the center position, they're on a 3-game winning streak. They're on a 4-game winning streak. Folks, they were beating teams they were supposed to beat. They was beating the Sacramento Kings. That was the game where LeBron James said, I'm the effing problem. You got to deal with the effing problem. I'm your problem. The Sacramento Kings? Are we high-fiving the Los Angeles Lakers for beating teams you were supposed to beat? Those same teams that you was losing against. Now we're giving them high fives, thumbs up, praises. Because they're beating the Sacramento Kings, folks. However, when the Lakers play the Phoenix Suns or the Golden State Warriors or the Brooklyn Nets or the Milwaukee Bucks, real competitive teams that have a mixture, a perfect blend of veteran leadership, veteran players, and young players. Because all those teams keep their draft picks, with the exception of the Brooklyn Nets. And now, this is what the Los Angeles Lakers want. I don't care if y'all want to blame Rob Pelinka, if you want to blame the Lakers management, if you want to, and I'm going to read your comment in a few minutes. If you want to blame LeBron James, I don't care who you blame. All of them deserve blame with the orchestration of this roster. LOL. Are you from LA or something? Who cares about this? A lot of people care about this. Go on social media. A lot of people care about this. Go on ESPN, Fox Sports 1. A lot of people care about this. Just because you're in the minority, that doesn't make it so. Hey, dude, I like compact cars. I like smaller cars. I like fuel-efficient cars. But the narrative is it's exotic cars. The Maseratis, the Ferraris, those sports cars. Those get the views. Those are the cars that get the most shine, to get the most talked about. Not a fuel-efficient car, but I'm in the minority. Does it make it true? Does it make it false? Just because you don't like it, that doesn't necessarily mean what you're saying is the narrative. What you're saying is not the narrative. Bro, they talk about LeBron every day. Of course. Of course. When LeBron goes on social media and brags about keeping that same energy when they start winning, which that was many moons ago, remember? We should keep that same. That's what we're doing, LeBron. We're keeping the same energy. You can't move the goalpost and let's talk about something else. Of course my team sucks. Of course, it's because of this, the COVID protocol. It's because of Anthony Davis can't stay consistently healthy, which he couldn't do with the New Orleans Pelicans. But I guess that's a news flash for LeBron James stands and Laker Nation. This is all new to you guys. Anthony Davis cannot stay healthy. That's new to you guys. That's been the narrative about Anthony Davis since day one. And I'm going to talk about Zion Williams a little bit later this week. But we're going to talk about, we're going to stay on Anthony Davis. We're going to stay on the Los Angeles Lakers, and we're going to stay on LeBron James. This is the team you wanted, LeBron. This is the team you were supporting through the offseason. These were the moves you said, quote, is going to get you back to the title. And all I'm telling you guys is there's nothing the Los Angeles Lakers can do from here. Y'all can sit up and scream and shout, well, let's trade Russell Westbrook. Who in the hell wants Russell Westbrook when you owe him $40 million this year and I think $38 next year? Who in the hell wants that contract? You guys are talking about, well, maybe we should trade him for John Wall. Okay, that trade was done last year. Why would the Rockets want Russell Westbrook? How is that benefiting the Rockets? The Rockets are trying to get young. Why all of a sudden they're in the market for John Wall when they can keep John Wall, and when the season's over with, they got a little bit more money in their salary cap? Why would the Rockets do that? Why? Why would they help the Los Angeles Lakers out of their own problems? No, LeBron, you're not the effing problem. Where the league, LeBron is a problem that we can't solve. LeBron is easily solved, and the Lakers are easily solved. They're an older team. They can't come back. They can't defend because they don't have any young players that can truly defend. And they mortgage all their draft picks, all their young talent, the Alex Carusos, all of that for this roster. And now you got an aging veteran team, and it showed last night with the Memphis Grizzlies. They had a hard time keeping up with the Memphis Grizzlies. And the Memphis Grizzlies are not world beaters, folks. They're not world beaters. So if you're having an issue with the Memphis Grizzlies, how in the hell are the Lakers going to figure out how to beat the real teams like the Phoenix Suns, the Golden State Warriors? I feel like the Lakers are going to have a problem with the Clippers. When they get their players back, they're going to have a problem with the Clippers. I don't think that's an easy out for the Los Angeles Lakers. And then even if they can make it to the finals, which I heavily doubt, you think the Lakers can defend the Milwaukee Bucks? Are you smoking? You think the Lakers can beat and figure out the Brooklyn Nets, the Philadelphia 76ers, the Chicago Bulls? You think the Lakers can beat those teams? No. So, yeah, I was on a live stream. Normally, I just listen to these live streams. I don't really comment, but I commented on this live stream. I guess the mod of this content provider didn't like my message, and I didn't say nothing nasty. I didn't say nothing negative. I didn't talk about the guy's family members. I didn't even talk about the guy. I just spoke on the facts and the truth. At the end of the day, LeBron James is going to hold when he retires, he's going to hold every individual stat and achievement an NBA player coveted. Okay. But still, at the end of the day, he's still going to have 4 titles, and 6 will always beat 4 if you want to debate him versus LeBron James. Now, I get blocked. I mean, I get put on timeout, and then the mod has the opportunity to try to counter my argument by saying Bill Russell. But y'all was talking about LeBron and Jordan. Where did Bill Russell came into the discussion? And if you want to put Bill Russell in the discussion, which that's why you time me out, if you want to put Bill Russell in the discussion, okay then. I agree. Bill Russell has more titles than Jordan. If you're comparing those two, then Bill Russell is the GOAT to Michael Jordan. But if Bill Russell's the GOAT to Michael Jordan, that doesn't elevate LeBron James. That devaluates your argument. That devalues your narrative about LeBron James. And at the end of the day, he's not as, and like I said, I'm judging titles. I'm not judging individual stats in a league that really don't promote individual stats. This league is not built and founded on that. This league is built on how many titles a team wins. And if that team wins, the star of that team is going to get all the credit. And if that team loses, the star of that team gets all the blame. That's how it's always been. That's how it's been since the beginning of time. That's how it's going to continue to be. Now, let's talk about LeBron James' individual accomplishments. 19 years is a hellified accomplishment. Being an Iron Man is a hellified accomplishment. Okay, being the all-time scorer in NBA history is a hell of an accomplishment. Okay, his average is a hell of an accomplishment. Okay, let's give him his flowers while they're due. But when it's all said and done, he's still going to be behind Kobe Bryant. He's still going to be behind Michael Jeffrey Jordan. He's still going to be behind Bill Russell. If you want to talk about individual stats, the most important stats, he's still going to be behind Oscar Robertson, in my opinion. He's still going to be behind Wilt Chamberlain. He's still going to be behind a lot of basketball players that have those type of achievements that we don't talk about. All we care about and all we talk about as NBA fans, as NBA personalities, vlogs, blogs, and all these channels and social media and yada, 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 all we care about is the titles to define a player. That's how it's always been. That's how it's going to continue to be, folks. And there's not a damn thing no one can do about it. So you can go time out people, sir. Your mods can go time out people. People don't have the ability to respond to the mods counter argument, which was a weak counter argument. I love how Shannon Sharp and people like this throw out Bill Russell's name to all of a sudden we shouldn't care about how many titles a player won or lost. When I can use that same argument against LeBron James. So you can go time out people, your mods can go time out people. And, look, I'm not for the fake stuff. I'm not for people going on your channel and doing death threats and things of that nature. That's despicable. Okay, anybody that's doing that on your channel, they got mush for brains. They should be banned immediately and reported. Okay, I'm not for all that. All right, I've been there, done that with people on my channel. I'm not for that. But what I am for is good debate, good discussion, and if you have a good argument, I'm going to counter your argument. You can't talk about personal achievements when there's been tons of other NBA players that had personal achievements that don't necessarily have the hardware, which is the rings, but we don't talk about those individuals, all right? Now, all of a sudden, the personal achievements are more important than your championships. That's the narrative you guys are pushing. If that was the case, then LeBron shouldn't care about winning a title, right? He's a made man, right? And like I said, what he's doing in his 19th year in the league is astounding. Okay. But at the end of the day, we judge who should be the GOAT on championship. But now y'all make the GOAT argument this weak argument. Now it's being the GOAT. It doesn't hold the same light or the same shine or truth like it did 10 years ago, like it did 20 years ago. Now, y'all put GOAT on everything, like mayonnaise to a sandwich. Y'all put mayonnaise on every type of sandwich, hamburgers, ham and swish, turkey, sub sandwiches, okay? Y'all put mayonnaise on everything. That's what y'all do with the GOAT argument. Y'all put the GOAT argument on everything. You plaster it on everything. And now the GOAT argument, it don't feel the same. It don't hit the same way like it did 10 years or 20 years ago. Because you have to be a special type of person. You have to have a special type of team and a special type of career and a special type of dynasty to even be considered the GOAT. Now, you can be the GOAT, okay, as long as you have individual stats. You're the GOAT, man. Now it's about going to the finals. Win, lose, or draw. Just going to the finals. You're the GOAT, man. What happened to the championships? The actual championship. What happened to the ratio of actually getting there? Going 6-0 is a hellified accomplishment. I believe Kobe lost maybe 2. I think he lost 2, but he won 5. I'm not 100% sure, but let's just say 5-3. When he went to the finals, he was 5-3. That's still a better ratio than LeBron. So come on, man. Y'all can't have it both ways. When it's all said and done, when he's retired, he's going to surpass a lot of players that have better accomplishments and have won more championships than LeBron. He's going to surpass those because of the world we're living in today and how the league is. Now the league is about, scoring, You can't hand check no more. Defense is null and void in today's basketball, and that's why you're seeing a hellified clip on scoring. And Steph Curry got a lot of, when it's all said and done, Steph Curry is probably going to even get more individual stats in scoring. Okay. And the way how the league is going, if they don't change the rules, everybody is going to get this accomplishment or get close to being the all-time scoring leader. Everybody's going to have an opportunity then. 10, 20 years from now, y'all going to be looking at the scoring title as, it's not as prestige as it once was, because now everybody's close to it or everybody has gotten it. So, yeah, that's all I got. Rate, comment, subscribe. Great fun talking to you guys. And I'll talk to you guys later. Deuces!